Pas de soleil, pas de soleil, pas de soleil, da-da-da. Pas de soleil, pas de soleil, pas de soleil, da-da-da.
This right here is the liquid gold that will make you live to 102, and it's so easy that you could put whatever you want into it. Not only will this make killer broth on its own, but you'll see me use this stock a lot in upcoming videos to make sauces, soups, and use as poaching liquid. Let's get started. For this stock, I'm breaking out the big boy pot. You can use whatever size pot you want, but it just depends on how much stock you're making. Again, you can use almost anything for this. This is meant to be a everything but the kitchen sink type of stock. You want to use scrap parts for it just to keep the cost down, but also scrap parts like chicken wings, beef tendons, pig feet, tails, and ears have a lot of collagen, which will not only give the stock body, but will also be healthy for you. I'm using oyster mushrooms, carrots, tomatoes, garlic, onions, celery, beef leg bones, beef neck bones, pigtails, beef tendon, and turkey wings. Once you have everything sorted in your roasting pans, make sure your oven is preheated to 400 degrees and give everything a coating of oil. Throw everything in the oven and roast for an initial hour and 30 minutes, and then check on everything every 15 minutes after, flipping things as they brown. Different ingredients will finish at different times, and it's important that you don't let anything burn, even on the bottom of the pan, because we're going to deglaze the bottom of the pans, and if there's anything that's burnt, it will give the stock a bitter flavor. I threw in some raw turkey wings into the pot because I couldn't fit them in the oven, but once everything is done roasting, throw them in the stock pot and deglaze the pans, and then pour the liquid into the pot as well. You can also throw in some herbs like thyme and bay leaf to give it a deeper flavor. Once everything is in the pot, fill it up with water and then put it on the stove to boil. After about 5 hours of boiling, your stock should look like this. The meat parts are breaking down and the vegetables should be almost mush. If you're seeing bones stick out of the stock, add enough water to cover everything again. After boiling for 8 hours, use a slotted spoon or a spider to take out all of the bigger bones and other chunks. Don't feel bad about throwing this stuff away. All of the proteins and nutrients from the meat and the vegetables are now in the stock. This is essentially just undissolved fibers left over. Once all of the bigger chunks are gone, get a smaller pot and either use some cheesecloth or a fine mesh strainer to filter out all the tiny particles. After taking the particles out, you'll be left with a cloudy broth with a golden layer of fat on top. This fat isn't very appetizing, and it also has impurities in it. To get rid of this fat layer, you'll have to let it solidify overnight in the refrigerator. The next day, take the pot out of the refrigerator and start scraping the fat off the top. As you can see, there's also a thin brown layer of impurities underneath the fat. Make sure to take off as much of this as possible. The fat seems to stick to the stock. This is because the collagen concentration is too high. To avoid this, you will need to add water before chilling. If you don't have a problem with losing some stock because it's sticking to the fat, then you don't have to worry about this step. As you can see, this stock has a super high concentration of collagen and is essentially a big blob of jello. You could actually use this stock to make a really rich pan sauce, and you'll see this technique in the next video. All you need to do now is get the stock boiling again and then fill up some mason jars. If you're storing this stock in a refrigerator, you can fill it up to the top, but if you plan on freezing it, leave about 2 inches from the top of the mason jar for expansion. Making stock like this doesn't really take much technique, and I know it takes a long time, but in the end, the result is worth it, and it's definitely better than any store-bought stock out there. As always, if you liked this video, leave a like, share it, and subscribe for more.